and Cheney returned from the Gulf, tight-lipped about the timing for a ground war. Whenever the war begins, Saddam Hussein declares Iraq will win. This is the CBS Evening News. Connie Chung reporting. Good evening. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney and General Colin Powell are on their way back to Washington tonight after weekend meetings in Saudi Arabia with allied commanders. They will meet with President Bush tomorrow on the burning issue, when to start the ground war. In the meantime, the air war continues, as Juan Vasquez reports.
Even as more B-52s took off from Britain today to strike Iraqi forces in the Gulf, military commanders declared that there are still more than enough targets in the region to keep Allied pilots busy.
One aeroplane takes out one artillery piece, and when he's got 4,000 of them, it's going to take a while to wear him down, despite the fact that we're being very successful at this at the moment.
Allied warplanes continue to wipe out bridges used by the Iraqis in an effort to choke their supply lines. The Allies are using a variety of fighters, bombers, and control planes over the target area to isolate and starve the Iraqi war machine. The goal is to reduce Allied casualties when the ground war begins.
It's a busy place up there. It makes LAX and Dallas and Atlanta combined look like kids on the block.
Iraqi prisoners tell interrogators the bombing is hurting Saddam Hussein's forces. The Iraqi leader has reportedly sprinkled some of his best troops, the Republican Guard, among the frontline soldiers to keep them from defecting. Even so, 42 more surrendered today.
These troops reported very low morale in the ranks of their fellow Iraqi soldiers and heavy casualties from the bombing.
Military sources say the Iraqis have moved their forces around inside Kuwait to prepare for the Allied ground assault, but every shift in position makes them vulnerable to air attack.
There obviously has been movement. There will be a continuous, I'm not going to say that the Iraqis have frozen in place. There is movement going on. I think we have cut down on that movement appreciably.
The Marines said one of their Harrier jets was shot down over Kuwait. The loss disclosed on a date when the Allies flew 2,700 sorties, one of the highest daily totals since the war began. Despite talk of diminishing returns in the air war, military sources say the figure is likely to remain high as long as pilots can find targets that represent a threat to Allied forces in a ground campaign. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Eastern Saudi Arabia.
On the plane ride back tonight, Defense Secretary Cheney said the air war has reduced the fighting power of some Iraqi divisions by as much as 40%. But neither he nor General Powell would give any more clues regarding the ground war. Harry Smith reports.
The Secretary and the Chairman stopped at a stealth fighter base in Saudi Arabia on their way home. A little morale boost for the troops who work on the world's only practically invisible warplane.
We just wish you good flying, and God bless all of you for what you're doing for our country and for the people in this part of the world. Thank you.
The elusive stealth seemed an appropriate backdrop for the final warside visit of this fact-finding tour, because neither Cheney nor Powell was letting anyone know what advice they'd be delivering to the White House on Monday about when to start the ground war.
I don't plan to give you the date this morning when we might begin the next phase of the campaign. That's a decision that the President will make in consultation with King Fahd and other key allies.
More than 3 weeks of bombarding key targets in Iraq and Kuwait have dealt Saddam Hussein crippling losses.
I think we're in the decisive phase now, in the sense that when we began the air campaign, we didn't pull any punches. We went after all of his strategic targets as well as his ground forces. I think when we begin the next stage or next phases of the campaign, that it will indeed be decisive. There's no doubt in my mind.
It may well be the next phase of the Gulf War is focused in the air and on land. The so-called air-land strategy was developed in the 70s for fighting the Warsaw Pact countries and the